Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my official review of the January 25th edition of WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. We're going to go through every match, every segment. I'll tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, do I agree with the winners, and we'll also talk about where storylines can go after this show. But if you're looking for my review with footage, frame by frame, so you can see exactly what we're talking about, that's over and available on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZab. Obviously, because of copyright reasons, I can't have that version of the review here. That one's longer and more comprehensive, so if you do want to go check it out, the link will be in the description or in the pinned comment for you. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm really confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into the review. Listen, before we dive into things match by match, I want to talk about Saturday night's main event as an overall concept and my general feelings about it. I gotta be honest with you, going into this show, I had bottom of the barrel expectations, basement level expectations, because I just didn't want to be burned like I was in the December edition of the show. A show that I admittedly, along with many people, kind of overhyped because we were expecting title changes. We were expecting returns, fundamental, groundbreaking narrative changes that would impact some of WWE's biggest feuds. And what we got was, admittedly, a really fun showcase of what the WWE has to offer to a wider, more casual audience. And they really did not move the needle forward. So it was a show that if you missed, it really wasn't a big deal. So I went into the show expecting that. And unfortunately, I have to say that we got kind of the same thing because WWE once again played it incredibly safe. However, I will say when we talk more about Jacob Fatu, that to me is a big moment that you need to watch. But overall, if you miss this show and you tune in to Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, it'll be like you missed nothing, unfortunately. And I really believe that at some point, Saturday night's main event in this new era of WWE needs its defining moment. It needs the reason why you need to tune into the remaining episodes of Saturday night's main event, because unfortunately, this show and the previous show unfortunately have not provided that major moment. But hey, it was still tonight a really fun wrestling show that I enjoyed with good matches. I can't complain about that, but there will be people that complain about the fact that this feels, and I'm starting to maybe slowly side with them, like a major televised glorified house show. But hey, those are my general thoughts on Saturday nights as a whole, as a concept. But now let's talk about things on a match by match basis. Let's start off by talking about the WWE Women's World Championship match between the champion Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax. So when this match was announced, to me, this was the big canary in the coal mine, that being the big signal that nothing major is going to happen on this show, because there was no way in hell that Rhea Ripley was going to lose this match to Nia Jax. On top of that, you already had Nia Jax in the Royal Rumble, so her losing here really wasn't a big deal anyway. What I was just looking for was a fun match that I could confidently say was better than their main event match at Elimination Chamber 2024. And I'm happy to say that this match kind of rocked. This was way better than I was expecting from an in-ring perspective. What was missing from this match was just overall tension and drama, because we all knew that Rhea Ripley was going to win. Let me just take this one step further. Everything and anything that Rhea Ripley does between now and WrestleMania is just a lock that she's going to win. She's not losing this championship to anyone that isn't her potential WrestleMania opponent. So yeah, people are going to call this a filler match, and it was. It absolutely was a filler match, but I dare people say that this was a bad match, because it wasn't. This was way better than their match at Elimination Chamber with less time and even with a commercial break. It was way better than the Elimination Chamber match from last year. We had Rhea Ripley pulling out some fascinating moves. She's doing code reds. She's doing hurricanranas. She's power bombing people. She had just an overall cool arsenal of moves in this match. And Nia Jax looked great in this as well. She looked like a massive powerhouse, something that I don't feel like they've done a great job of conveying on typical episodes of Raw or Friday Night SmackDown for her. But to me, this was a reminder that Nia Jax is a bad mother effer. I think to me, the biggest question mark about this match was the finish. It was admittedly a little bit weird. It almost felt like it was going at half speed. And I'm concerned that it was going at half speed because Rhea Ripley may have gotten injured in a spot where she was going for a riptide, but then it got countered into Nia Jax falling on top of her. It looked like that either winded Rhea Ripley or maybe hurt her ribs, because after that spot, Rhea Ripley was moving at like a quarter of the typical speed that she would typically move at. And because of this, I feel like the finish of the match just sort of looked like they were walking through the paces, because we had a moment where Nia Jax does the Annihilator on a face down Rhea Ripley, mind you. To me, that would signal the end of the match for pretty much anybody. But instead of going for the cover, Nia Jax goes for another Annihilator, only for Rhea Ripley to like very sluggishly and slowly stand up and deliver an electric chair from the top rope to Nia Jax, and then very slowly get up to deliver a riptide. It looked like Rhea was hurt and she had to just sort of walk through the paces, unfortunately. So fingers crossed that she's not hurt from this match for a couple reasons. One, we don't want an injured Rhea Ripley going into the Rumble and going into the road to WrestleMania. That would suck ass. But I also don't want more of a narrative that Nia Jax injures people, because I feel like Nia Jax has been winning a lot of goodwill with fans with how good she's been recently. So aside from the weird walking pace of the last like 3 minutes of the match, this was good. This was fun. Again, it was just missing the drama that might make you lead to believe that Rhea Ripley was actually in danger of losing this match. That, admittedly, was never there. Now let's move on to the Intercontinental Championship match between Braun Breaker taking on Sheamus. To really jump to the conclusion of my overall thoughts on this Intercontinental Championship match, this was the best match of the night. If you put this match in any PLE card, I am happy with the match. I am happy with the result. And I want to see Sheamus versus Braun Breaker again, delivering banger after banger after banger. But this match ruled. It had everything that you could possibly want out of a good Sheamus versus Braun Breaker match. In my opinion, this is the standout match that Braun Breaker was desperately needing to really solidify and give identity to his Intercontinental Championship reign. Look, I like the match at Survivor Series, but I didn't think that it was amazing. But this match to me was way better, and it better showcase just how much of a bad mother effer Braun Breaker truly is. My favorite spot of this match, and there is a couple, was Sheamus going off for a kick off the top of the metal steps to the outside and eating maybe the nastiest spear that Braun Breaker has delivered to a member of the main roster since he's been called up to the main roster of WWE. That spear was absolutely nutty. Again, I wish I could show it here, but I'll be going through all of that stuff frame by frame on Patreon. The final minutes of this match were also incredibly tense. We had an awesome moment where Sheamus gets hit with a Frankensteiner. He gets set up for a spear, only for Sheamus to hit the deadliest looking bro kick that I've seen in a very, very long time. And I'm not gonna lie, fellas, there was like a 0.25% of me that believed that Sheamus actually won here, but Braun Breaker was too close to the ropes and is just able to get his foot on the ropes. We did get a really uncomfortable back and forth here with Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary, who I think was maybe a little bit lost. He just kept insisting that the ref had already counted to 3, so Braun Breaker's foot on the rope shouldn't have counted. But usually we have Jesse the Body Ventura using these heel commentary tactics to gas up the heels. It's almost as if he thought Sheamus was the heel, but Sheamus was the babyface in this scenario, not Braun Breaker. Anyway, so that kind of created a little bit of a weird sense of messaging between what WWE was portraying and what we were watching at home. But then after that, Sheamus tries to go for another bro kick. His ribs are hurt because of that crazy spear that happened on earlier in the match on the outside, which led to a cool sequence where they're both running back and forth on the ropes. We have Braun Breaker go under a bro kick, only for then to come back and hit another nasty spear to pick up the victory. This was an awesome match. Great showcase, like I said, of what Braun Breaker's championship reign should be. Another stern reminder of just how unbelievably good Sheamus is, and I want to see them run this back as many times as they're willing to give it to us. This was the match of the night. We then have a non-match segment, the contract signing between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, hosted by San Antonio's own Shawn Michaels. Okay, so immediately the thing that I want to point out, because if you missed this show, you maybe came here to figure out what's the addendum, what's the big change that Nick Aldis needed these guys to sign for the match. they didn't reveal that. We still don't know what the major addendum to the contract and the match was. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a story beat that they're just dropping altogether, because the contract at the end of all of this was signed and no one brought up what the major mystery change to the match was. But this was everything that it needed to be. I do feel like had they done this on SmackDown or Saturday Night's Main Event, it would have been equally impactful on either show. This didn't have to be on Saturday Night's Main Event, but it did add an interesting layer, and it did add a bit more reason to want to watch this show. I think the big takeaway of the contract signing is one, holy shit, Kevin Owens and his t-shirt game is so good, wearing a Cody sucks eggs t-shirt on his way to the ring and during the segment. That was great. And then Cody and Kevin just kind of go back and forth, cutting great promos on each other. We have Kevin Owens talking about the fact that he is not a guy that takes the easy way out, like Cody Rhodes was alluding to in the previous episode of Friday Night SmackDown, that if anybody takes the easy route out, it's you, Cody. You're the one that left the company when things got bad. Cody Rhodes didn't want to hear it, interrupted him, and just demanded that he sign the contract. Kevin also mentioned the fact that he doesn't take the easy way out, because if he did take the easy way out, he would have just taken out Cody Rhodes when his knee buckled under himself at Bash in Berlin and could have just been undisputed champion, but he valued their friendship too much to do that, which honestly was a pretty impactful message that Kevin Owens brought. We did have a little bit of tension between Kevin Owens and Shawn Michaels. If you follow Kevin Owens' interviews that he's done, he's mentioned numerous times that his dream match at WrestleMania would be against Shawn Michaels, that he's tried to goad him out of retirement numerous times, and I could kind of feel that from Kevin Owens and his interactions with Shawn Michaels here. Shawn Michaels said that Kevin Owens just sort of sounds jealous, which triggered Kevin Owens, but then eventually they do put the titles that on the hanging hook thing and they get elevated, and then Kevin Owens sucker punches Cody Rhodes and tries to pile drive Shawn Michaels into oblivion, which was the spot we were all waiting for, right? Like, if you were watching this segment, you were just patiently waiting for when is Kevin Owens going to hit Shawn Michaels with that pile driver. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but we still got an equally fun moment with Cody Rhodes helping Shawn Michaels get out of the pile driver position by hitting a sweet chin music, and then Shawn Michaels kicks Kevin Owens' head with his own sweet chin music and sends him out of the ring. That was the segment. Again, it's not something that needed to be on Saturday Night's Main Event. This could have been on any episode of Friday Night SmackDown, but it added a little bit of more fun to this show. So I was fine with it. Ooh.
Oh, he eliminated himself.
Oh, no, he's out. Oh, BD, we love you. Good luck, BD. Oh, the Penta driver. Oh, God, on the Legos. Oh, Tiffy time. Oh, they did not catch her. Oh, look at the, look at the, oh, damn. Oh, push tush, is that? That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at the legendary Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys in a ladder match at the Royal Rumble 2000. The wrestling YouTuber BDE taking on AJ Francis. A Mexican death match between Pentagon and Sami Callihan. The six-way ladder match at NXT Stand and Deliver for the NXT Women's Championship. And the three-way tag match from Survivor Series 2002 between Los Guerreros, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, and Edge and Rey Mysterio. Oh, and the Elimination Chamber match from New Year's Revolution 2006, the one where that thing happens at the very end. You're gonna get this and more, like the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble watch-alongs, the currently ongoing Undertaker WrestleMania match watch-along, and more. These are all pieces of content that are uploaded exclusively to Patreon and never see the light of day on YouTube because we just simply can't upload them here. I encourage you to even just try it out for 1 month, because if you do, I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it because of just how much content we pump out over there. Again, that's patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. If you're already a patron, thank you for your support. Let's get you back to the video. Next up, let's talk about the train wreck that was Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Okay, so I'm going to be really quick and really blunt about the actual match because the match itself was also really quick and to the point. But before the match, Jacob Fatu going out there, cutting another great promo on his way to the ring. This dude truly and genuinely is the entire package, and the post-match segment here absolutely proved that even more. But the match itself, I'm sorry to say, was not good. The match itself was very quick. It was very slow. It didn't really have the big gut punches that we were waiting for. We were waiting for a Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed last monster standing type of match, and that isn't what we got. The match was pretty simple and pretty formulaic up until the last 2 minutes of this match. The last 2 minutes of the match were a lot of fun. We had Braun Strowman hitting continuously over and over again his big run around the ring train maneuver where he kept throwing Jacob Fatu over the table, and we were all expecting that big table spot. But eventually on the third one, Jacob Fatu counters it into a Samoan drop onto that incredibly sturdy table that, again, refuses to break. It's going to be a huge moment when that table finally breaks. And I was expecting here for Jacob Fatu to lay down Braun Strowman and do the big splash from the top and break the table, but that's not what we got. Instead, what we got was the birth of a star, because Jacob Fatu brings Braun Strowman in and does that running, because then Jacob Fatu rolls Braun Strowman's ass into the ring, puts him on the corner, and just does the running ass at him 15 times to the point where Braun Strowman is gushing blood out of his mouth everywhere. He's red. He is like a painting at this point, and the ref has to call the match. But then it's not over. We have Jacob Fatu taking out the ref and continuing to dish out even more punishment to Braun Strowman. We have the authorities come out. We have Nick Aldis come out. Jacob Fatu is destroying these poor security guards and then proceeds to hit Braun Strowman with about 4 moonsaults, kind of like how Bronson Reed was doing during the late summer and early fall, where he was just destroying people with multiple tsunamis. So clearly, it's a formula. It's a blueprint that works, because it worked for Bronson Reed, and god damn it, did it work for Jacob Fatu. Because even though the match was a giant letdown, let's just call it what it was, I was expecting way more. The post-match segment and what this thing was trying to accomplish in general was a massive success. Jacob Fatu walked into Saturday night's main event as a big star and walked out a massive uber mega over star. This was a success all around. If the goal was to put over Jacob Fatu, it worked like a freaking charm. I wish the match was better, but dude, I can't ask for anything more, because what we wanted was for this to be a showcase, the breakout of Jacob Fatu. And even though the match wasn't great, the segment helped in creating the breakout of Jacob Fatu. It started tonight. If there's a thing that was a needle mover on this show, it was what they did with Jacob Fatu. I am assuming that they're probably gonna run this back again. Maybe this is a SmackDown match, Elimination Chamber. Maybe this goes all the way through to WrestleMania. But what I want is Jacob Fatu to have a monstrous Royal Rumble. And for Braun Strowman, honestly, I kind of want him to miss the Royal Rumble, because I want him to sell the insane injuries that Jacob Fatu laid upon this man. This dude was left in a pile of blood gushing out of his mouth. He shouldn't be in the Rumble. That's personally my choice there, but they need to run this back. They're going to. Honestly, this was just overall, again, the post-match segment was fantastic. And now let's talk about the main event of the show, that being main event Jey Uso challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, this is where the overall structure of Saturday night's main event became problematic. I don't have problems with commercials. I'm used to them. I'm expecting them. I'm expecting them on Saturday night's main event, because Saturday night's main event is not a proper premium live event. But damn it, man, the spacing of commercials that they left here towards the end of the show really killed this match. Seriously. They go to commercial. They come back from commercial. Gunther has his entrance. They do the first 30 seconds of the match, commercial. They come back. They do 3 more minutes and then another commercial. And then we do the finishing sequence. Frankly, because of how many stoppages they had, I feel like the only thing that is worth watching from this match is the final 5-minute segment, because it's admittedly really good and really fun. But the whole match is just killed by the pacing that was honestly just taken out back and shot because of all the commercial breaks that happened in the main event sequence. Now, I say that I'm good with commercials and I'm not going to complain about them, but when you do this to the main event, when you break it up like this, it just admittedly hurts the show. Jey did have a massive entrance, but it's nothing out of the ordinary that we haven't seen before. I feel like the big difference was that he came out with the white Ulafala, the same one that he came out with for his SummerSlam 2023 match against Roman Reigns. But the match up until the return from the final commercial was fine. It was super kicks, it was chops, it was nothing particularly special, but nothing bad either. But the finishing sequence is what's going to leave a lot of people wondering. We had Jey Uso kick out of the powerbomb, a powerbomb that's won Gunther championships before. And then the finishing sequence of Jey Uso hitting not one, but 2 spears and then going to the top rope to hit the Uso splash, only for Gunther to kick out of what technically is 3 straight finishers, is pretty wild. It was incredibly tension filled, and I thought that, holy shit, they're actually going to do it. They're going to pull the trigger on Jey Uso and give us the defining moment of Saturday night's main event, only for Gunther to kick out, which, again, I'm fine with Gunther winning. I was expecting Gunther to win, but damn, did you have to have Jey Uso's 3 finishers be kicked out of? That to me seemed a little bit of an overreach with Gunther's overall power. Then Jey Uso goes for another spear, which was honestly pretty cool with how Gunther countered it right into 2 straight Symphony power bombs to pick up the victory and end the show. It honestly felt like the ending needed to be done so quickly because they were running out of time, probably because of how many freaking commercials they went to, and they just needed to end super quick and abruptly because it did feel like the finish came out of nowhere. Like, why is it that Jey Uso hits 3 finishers and then Gunther just gets up, hits 2, and then the match is over? It felt like they didn't do much in terms of creating tension towards Gunther's overall victory and how he was able to shake off all those finishers and hit Jey Uso with all those power bombs. It felt like a rushed ending sequence, but I will say that 2 spear into the splash sequence and that kick out, that shit's going to be living rent free in my head for a little while. That was awesome. Awesome in terms of the moment that it created, the belief that it created within me, but not awesome in terms of protecting Jay's finishers. I think overall, it's kind of a bummer to have put Jey in this match because a lot of people want to see Jey win the big one, and him just continuing to chase and continuing to lose just sort of feels like false advertisement almost. It's almost like WWE knew that people would care about the possibility of Jey Uso winning, so they threw him in this match to bring eyeballs to the WWE and to bring eyeballs to Gunther's overall reign, which I don't know why I'm complaining about that because overall that's just a good business idea. It has me concerned actually for a future Jey Uso championship victory because it almost leads me to believe that maybe Jey Uso's chase for the championship will just be way better than him actually being champion, unfortunately. So overall, I thought the match was done a massive disservice. The finishing sequence was fun, but if you missed this match, you didn't really miss anything in the grand scheme of things if you think about it. Anyways, I enjoyed the show. I was entertained the entire night, but if you missed it, I'll be honest, I don't think you missed a heck of a whole lot. Definitely watch the Jacob Fatu stuff though. That you can't miss. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.